All right, Unit 2 test review. Let's get it. What is the slope? Number one, what is the slope of the line through 5, 2 and 2, 3? Again, right away, the thing that I do out of instinct, just start labeling things. Right? Label the points. X1, Y1. X2, Y2. All right, and not only that, but this asking what is the slope, right? The slope is typically m, but that's the variable we use, and it's a formula: y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So what is the slope? We have a formula of the line that passes through these 2 points. All right, so I'm just going to fill in the blanks, or I'm going to substitute in the variables that I know. So m is equal to y2, 3 minus y1, again, which is 2, over x2, 2 minus 5. This is going to be 3 minus 2, which is 1, 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. So negative 1/3. That's the slope. All right, number 2, given a line with a slope of 5. So they're telling you that m is equal to 5. What is the slope? So we're looking for another slope of the line that is parallel. Parallel means same slope. So what is the slope of a line parallel to the given line? Well, the given line has slope 5. But really, I don't even need no math for this. This is just the same slope. So if one line has slope 5 and another line is parallel, then obviously it has the same slope. So the answer here is 5. Right? It's the same slope. Had this question said perpendicular, right? Had this question said perpendicular, then it would have been negative 1/5, because you have to flip it and change the sign. Number 3, write the following equation in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. That's the form we want. Basically, an equation with y by itself and equal to whatever else is left over. Right, y equals, that's the big thing. Here's the equation. 3x plus 2y equals 12. I'm going to subtract 3x from everything, from both sides, because I'm trying to get y by itself. Right, your options here are to subtract 2y or subtract 12. Well, in either one of those cases, that's not doing you any good. Subtracting 3x, however, gets y by itself. That's accomplishing what we want to do. So we're going to get 2y is equal to, now, 12 is a non-x term. 3x is an x term. Right? It literally has an x on it. So you can't combine x's and non-x terms. So this is going to be minus 3x plus 12. Not only that, but it's taking the shape, right, of what we want. So why would you combine them together? You know, that doesn't make sense. All right. Last step, to get y by itself, right? Because we want y to be alone. So we're going to divide by 2. We have to undo multiplication. Divide everything by 2, not just the left side. You have to divide everything by 2. What I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to both sides. Okay. We're almost there. Simplify. On the left, the y's cancel, but we expected that to happen. So my answer is going to be y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 12 over 2, which is 6. So here's my equation in slope-intercept form. Okay. Number 4. A line parallel to the y-axis could contain which point? Okay. So here's where we have to think about this for a second. The y-axis goes up and down, right? It's vertical. The x-axis goes left and right, horizontal. And then we have the origin, 0, 0. Okay. This is saying that a line parallel to the y-axis. So if the y-axis goes up and down, then, or is vertical, then a line that's parallel to the y-axis also goes up and down. Okay. This red line, right, the line that's parallel to the y-axis, could contain which point? 0, 3 or 3, 0. Well, let's plot it. Let's plot this one in blue. So 0, 3. 0, so x first, left and right 0, up 3. Okay, that's on the y-axis. Let's look at the next one. We'll do this one in green. So 3, 0. So if I go to the right 3, let's say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And it just so happens that that's where I'm at. The red line could contain 3, 0. Now, one could argue that if I slide the red line over, this red line is also parallel to the y-axis. In fact, it is the y-axis. And then it could contain the first point. I'm leaning more towards B on this one, but I could definitely make an argument for A. Okay. Number 5. Which line is perpendicular? Okay, so that's a buzzword. To y equals 3x plus 4. So if we look at the slope, right, the number in front of the x value, when it's in y equals mx plus b form, which it is, we want the opposite reciprocal of this. So the slope that we want is negative 1/3, right? This is the opposite reciprocal, which means it is perpendicular. It's perpendicular to the given slope. All right, so which line is perpendicular to this? So we look at our lines. A, no, that has the same slope. So it's not A. B, negative 1/3. Oh, that's the one we want. That's the one we want. It is perpendicular, right? It matches. Number 6. What is the equation of the line through these 2 points? Negative 2, 6 and 4, 3. So out of habit, x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, I want an equation. So for the equation of a line, there's 2 things you need. You need a point and you need a slope. Well, I already have a point. In fact, I have 2 points. I just need a slope. So let's find the slope. We have an equation for slope, which is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to plug in the 2 points. So let's do y2. This is going to be 3 minus y1, which is 6, over x2, which is 4, minus, because that's part of the equation, and x1 is negative 2, right? If you're going to make a mistake, it's going to be right here. Confusing the minus sign in the equation with the negative sign in the point. Okay, simplifying the top. 3 minus 6, negative 3, over 4 minus negative 2. So minus a negative means to add. Minus a negative means add. So 4 plus 2, which is 6. And this reduces to -1/2. So right now, I have a slope. Now we need a slope and a point. So I'm going to use point slope form, right? If I have a point and a slope, point slope form is the way to go. So point slope form is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. And we just plug in the pieces that we know. Y minus, I can use any y in this case. I could use y1, I could use y2. It truly doesn't matter. You just need to use a point. So I'm just going to stick with y1. We're going to use 6 equals m, which is -1/2, x minus x1. In this case, x1 is -2. So to simplify this, I'm going to do y minus 6 equals -1/2 x plus 2. Now, if I wanted slope-intercept form, we can distribute the 1/2. So -1/2 x. Negative times a positive is negative. 2 times 1/2 is 1. Y minus 6. If I add 6 to both sides, I get the final answer. Y is equal to -1/2 x plus 6. Okay. Number 7. What is the slope? Again, slope, right? Of the line through the 2 points. This is literally like the first question. Literally the first question. Just with different points. So x1, y1, x2, y2. We're going to use the formula m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, let's go. M is equal to y2, 2, minus y1, 4, over x2, 0, minus x1, -5. Okay, simplifying the top. 2 minus 4, -2. 0 minus -5, so that means plus. 0 plus 5 is just 5. So what is the slope? The slope is -2/5. That's nice. Okay. 8. What type of slope does the line have? All right, well, it's going down and to the right. Down and to the right. We know that this is negative, right? Especially if you count down 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going down 4, then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is definitely negative. It's negative. Right? Positive would be up and to the right. 0 would be horizontal. And then undefined is vertical. This is definitely negative because it goes down and to the right. Okay. Number 9. Given these 4 points, what type of lines are AB and BC? Okay, so we're going to have to find the slope here. We're going to have to find the slope of AB. So AB, that's what I'm going to work first. Okay, so again, x1, y1, x2, y2, AB. I'm going to find the slope. So this is going to be, again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do I need to write it? Like it's been what we've been doing. So y2, -1, minus y1, 5, over x2, so -2, minus x1, which is 1. So simplifying this, -1 minus 5, -6. over -2 minus 1, -3. This is going to reduce. Negative divided by a negative is a positive. Right, so those cancel. And then 6 over 3 is just 2 over 1, which is basically 2. So the slope of AB is 2. All right. Now we want BC. So BC. So B and C. I'll call segment BC. All right, so B, we can leave it as y2, y1. However, in this case, we're going to make C x1, y1. Right? Just, I don't care that I labeled it earlier because we're dealing with two different points now. And it doesn't matter which one, as long as we're consistent, which we are. The ones are together and the twos are together. Okay, BC. This is going to be y2 minus y1. -1 minus 1. X2 minus x1. So x2 is -2 minus x1, which is 1. Okay, we have -1 minus 1. This is going to be -2 over -2 minus 1. This is going to be -3. All right, the negatives cancel, and we're left with 2/3. So now we compare 2 to 2/3. They're not the same. They're not opposite reciprocals. They're neither, right? And the word we have for this is called oblique. When they're not parallel and they're not perpendicular, they're oblique. That's everything in between. All right, next page. Number 10. What is the equation of the line through these 2 points? So we'll call it x1, y1, x2, y2. And I want the equation of the line. So for the equation of the line, I need a slope and I need a point. So we have a point. In fact, we have 2 points. It's very repetitive, right? This is just like number 6, right? The work we did for number 6, that's what we're going to do now. So to find the slope, that's the first thing I need. M is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is going to be -3 over -3, which is +1, right? Because the negatives cancel. 3 over 3 is 1. So the slope that we want is 1. Now I'm going to use point slope form because I have a point and I have a slope. So y is equal, or technically y minus y1 m x minus x1. And we just fill in the pieces that we know. Y minus y1. Doesn't matter which y1 or y2 we use, but I'm just going to stick with y1. So 5. And this is equal to 1 times x minus x1, which in this case is 1. So simplifying this, we get y minus 5 is equal to x minus 1, right? Because the 1 is going to distribute, and 1 times anything is itself. Add 5 to both sides. Final answer, y is equal to x plus 4. Number 11. Which is the equation of the line shown in the graph? Okay, so are we choosing? No, we're just writing the equation. So remember, equation of a line shown, or equation of a line in general, y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. So where does it cross the y-axis? Crosses at -4. And then the slope, the number in front of the x, is going to be from one point to another point. So we're going up, so it's positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3. So 6 over 3, which that reduces to 2. So our formula, or equation rather, y equals 2x minus 4. Guess we could have done it in a different color. So there's the equation of the line shown. Number 12. Which line is parallel to y equals 2x plus 5? So parallel, same slope. And the slope we want is positive 2. So anything with something different is not it, right? Not it, right? Because that's 1/2. Here we have 1, not it. Negative 2, not it. Oh, look, positive 2. D is our answer. (13) Given the point J, negative 2, negative 4, which point K is line JK a line for which point K is line JK a line with 0 slope? Okay, this is, what is it even asking? All right, so it gives us a point. And so we want, okay, I see what's happening. So J is given to us, right? J is a point somewhere in space. In fact, it's at negative 2, negative 4. So which one of these K points will make line JK have a 0 slope? Remember what a 0 slope means. 0 slope means a horizontal line. Horizontal line. So if I have a point, negative 2, comma, negative 4, and I want a horizontal line that goes through this, that means the x's are going to change because the y's have to be the same, right? If you have a graph that has a horizontal line, right, because that's what slope 0 means, and 2 points are on that same line, well, it would have to be, right, because if we called this the y-axis and we called this point negative 4, well, a horizontal line through negative 4 would have y coordinates of negative 4, and just the x would be different. So let's see. Which points have negative 4 as the y value? Nope. Nope. Yes. Nope. So C. C is a line that will make JK have slope 0. Hopefully you can follow that logic. 14. If EF is perpendicular to GH for the points E, F, G, and H, which is a possible ordered pair for F? So let's think about this for a moment. EF, right, these 2 points, E and F, are perpendicular to G and H. So that means the slopes have to be opposite reciprocals. So let's find the slopes of G and H. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. If we find the slope of G and H, then we can figure out what the slope would need to be for E and F for it to be perpendicular. Okay. So the slope that we're finding, Y2 minus Y1, so 0 minus 2 over X2 minus X1, so minus negative 2. So this is going to be negative 0 minus 2 is negative 2, 0, and then this is minus a negative is plus, right? So 0 plus 2, which is 2. So the slope is negative 1. Okay. We know that GH has negative 1 slope. We just found it. EF is perpendicular to GH. So the slope that EF needs to have, do it in red. So the slope that EF needs is, so you flip the sign, change the sign. So instead of negative, we need positive. And then 1 over 1 flips to just 1. Right, 1 over 1 flips to 1 over 1. 1 over 1 is 1. So positive 1. That's what we need. So I need a slope to be 1. Okay, so the way we're going to do this, I'm going to switch colors. X1, Y1. X2, Y2. And we're going to set it up exactly like if we're finding the slope. So Y2 is Y minus Y1, which is 5, over X2, which is X, minus X1. So minus X1, which is negative 2. So all we did was plug in the points into the slope formula for points E and F. Now, for this to have slope 1, the top number and the bottom number need to match. So let's see. We can do, well, technically, there's infinitely many numbers we could choose from that would make this work. So let's just start testing our answers. So 2 minus 2, X is 2, Y is 1. So this is going to be, so I'm just going to plug these in. So Y is 1 minus 5 over X, which is 2. Right, minus a negative, that means plus. So 2 plus 2. All right, this is going to be 1 minus 5, which is negative 4, over 2 plus 2, which is 4. So this is negative 1, not A. Let's plug in B. So this is going to be X and Y. So since Y is 1, minus 5 over X, which is 3 plus 2. This is going to be 1 minus 5, which is 4, negative 4, over 5. And not what we wanted. C. This is X, this is Y. So Y is going to be 4 minus 5 over X, which is negative 1, plus 2. Okay, we get 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is positive 1. Again, this is negative 1, not what we wanted. Hopefully this last one works out, otherwise I did something wrong. So we got X and Y. So Y minus 5. So 10 minus 5 over X plus 2. 3 plus 2. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this is positive 1. This is it. That was kind of scary. Hopefully you can follow that logic, right? If we know that a slope needs to be opposite reciprocals. So it's kind of like testing it. I'm going to have to go back and watch that one a couple times. Okay. Which is an equation of a horizontal line? Horizontal lines are y equals a number. Right? Y equals a number. So which one is y equals a number? Here's A, x equals 7. Not it. B is y equals x. Right, but x isn't a number. X is a variable. So that's not a horizontal. It needs to be exactly a number. Y equals negative 7. I like that one. And then lastly, y equals negative x. Not it. Number 16. Which is the equation of a line that does not go through the origin? So the origin is a point, 0, 0. right? If you had an XY graph, it'd be right in the center. So does not go through the origin. So let's see. Y equals 0. Well, that definitely goes through the origin because of the y equals 0, right? So not that one. That one does go through. Y equals x. That is a horizontal line, or a horizontal line. That is a linear line, right? That goes through the origin at a 45-degree angle. Right, whatever y is, x is. So it's definitely not this one. Okay, y equals x plus 8. So here we have a y-intercept of 8, so positive 8, and then a slope of up 1 over 1. So this would be something like this. So this one doesn't go through the origin. I like this one. And lastly, y equals x plus 6. Or y equals 6x. I'm sorry, y equals 6x. The y-intercept is 0, so it goes through the origin for sure. So not this one. So C is our answer. 17. Which line is not parallel? Not parallel. So if it is parallel, it's the same slope. So the slope we're looking at is 1/3. So which of these lines has a slope different than 1/3 is what this is asking, right? Because it says not parallel. So let's look at the ones that are parallel. So at a glance, it's not C, right? Because C has a slope of 1/3 and that's the same. Okay, we're going to have to solve these guys for Y so that the slope will be more obvious. All right, so let's see here. If I add x to both sides, I get 3y is equal to x plus 18. Divide everything by 3 to solve for y. And you see that here is 1/3. So it's not A. Let's try B. I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. So 4y is equal to x minus 12. Dividing everything by 4. And here we see that the slope is 1/4. So that's different than 1/3 for sure. So that's definitely not parallel. I like B. But let's just test the last answer just to make sure. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So this is 6y is equal to 2x plus 12. Divide everything by 6. And we see that 2/6 reduces to 1/3. Not this one. So B is the final answer. Okay, 18. Write the equation of a line that passes through 1, 3. So x1, y1. And is perpendicular, so that means opposite reciprocal, to this line here. 2x plus y equals 9. All right, to figure out what the slope is that we're going to use, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides because I need it in y equals mx plus b form. This is negative 2x plus 9. So the slope that we are concerned with is negative 2. That's the slope of this line. But we want perpendicular to this slope. So I have to flip it and change it. The slope we're going to work with is positive 1/2. Right? You change it from negative to positive and you flip it. Okay, now I have a point and I have a slope. So point slope form. Y minus y1, m times x minus x1. Plugging in what we know, y minus y1, in this case y1 is 3. This is equal to 1/2 because that's what m is. And then x minus x1, in this case x1 is 1. All right, there's the equation. But let's say we wanted it in slope-intercept form. Distribute y minus 3 is equal to 1/2 x minus 1/2. We're going to add 3 to both sides. So this is going to be y equals 1/2 x and 1/2, negative 1/2 plus 3. That's going to be a little side work, 2 and 1/2. And that's going to be plus 5/2. So this equation that we have passes through that point and is perpendicular to the line that they gave us. Oh, I'm missing an x. Sorry, there's an x right there. 1/2 x. Okay. Number 19. Use the distance formula to find VW. Okay. Distance formula is as follows. Distance is equal to the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. All right, where are where the x's and y's coming from, you may ask. x1, y1, x2, y2. So we just plug in what we know. Square root of x2 minus x1. So 4 minus 1. y2 minus y1. So y2 is negative 1 minus y1, which is 3. All right, simplifying these numbers. 4 minus 1 is 3. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. So these are both squared. So 3 squared is 9. Plus negative 4 squared. So negative 4 times negative 4. If you're using a calculator and Inspire, you got to be sure that you put negative 4 in parentheses. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong answer. This will be positive 16. And this is still inside the square root. Excuse me. 9 plus 16 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 25 is 5. So the distance is 5 units. Now, we could have used Pythagorean theorem. So this is 4 and 3. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. That's a way also. Okay. What are the coordinates of the midpoint GH with endpoints negative 6, 5, and 4, 1? So the coordinates of the midpoint, we have a formula, the midpoint formula. So midpoint, it's an x and a y coordinate, right? But the x's are going to be x1 plus x2 divided by 2, and the y's is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So it's the average of the x's and average of the y's, and that'll find us the coordinates for the midpoint. So plugging this in, we're going to get x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. We have x1 plus x2. 4 plus, or technically, negative 6 plus 4, right? Keeping the formulas straight. Not that it matters. This is equal to negative 6 plus 2, or negative 6 plus 4 is 2, negative 2, over 2, which is negative 1. So the x coordinate for the midpoint is negative 1. Change colors. The y coordinate is going to be y1, so 5, plus y2, which is 1, over 2. This is 6 over 2, which is 3. So the coordinate for the midpoint is going to be -1, 3. Okay, getting close to the end here. These are going to start getting tougher. All right, 21. M is the midpoint of RS. R has coordinate 2, 4. M has coordinates 4, -2. Find the coordinates of S. Okay, here I suggest just think about it, right? Just logically think about this. Okay, we have RS, segment RS. Not a segment. I'll do it better. Okay, R and S. M is the midpoint, right? It's exactly in the middle. It's exactly in the middle. It bisects the segment. Right? It's the midpoint. Okay, R is 2, 4. M is 4, -2. What are the coordinates of S? Okay, I suggest a couple different ways. We could just count, right? Never forget that you know how to count. So if we do the X coordinate first, if we're starting at 2 and we're going towards M, we go, so 2, 3, 4. So we went 2 spots. So to get to S, right, if M is the midpoint, we have to go the exact amount. So 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're going to do the exact same thing for the Y's. All right, we're starting at R. So we're at 4. We're going towards M. M is -2. So that means we have to count down. How much are we counting down? That's the question. It's going to be 6, right? Because if you think about it, if you have a number line and here's 4 and here's -2, well, 0 is somewhere in the middle. So you have 4 spots and then you have 2 spots. So it's a total of 6 spots. That's what's happening. So 6 spots. So you're moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to get to -2. Because it's the midpoint, we have to go 6 more. So -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. So the coordinates is 6, -8. Okay, 22. What is the distance from M to N? So distance means distance formula. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, we're going to plug in the appropriate numbers into the distance formula, which is, you can look back on your paper, is going to be x2 minus x1. So x2 is 3 minus x1, -1. And then squared, obviously, plus y2 minus y1. So y2 is 1 minus y1, which is 4. All right, simplifying these numbers, we're going to get inside, we have 3 minus negative, so that means plus. So 3 plus 1 is 4. That's going to be squared. plus 1 minus 4 is -3. That's going to be squared. And all this is still inside the square root. So 4 squared, 16, plus -3 squared, which is 9. And this is all inside the square root. 16 plus 9 is 25. Again, the square root of 25 is 5. So the distance is 5. Can you see it? My bad. All right. Oh, wow. Solve for x. So this is kind of nice. So we're going to put all the x's on one side of the equation, all the non-x's on the other side of the equation. It doesn't matter which one you move. I personally recommend starting with x and moving the smaller one. If you move the smaller one, then you won't get any negatives, typically. And the math will work out a little bit better, I think. So we're looking 9 and 5. Which one's smaller? Good job, 5. So I'm moving 5. So I got to do the opposite because the x's are on opposite sides of the equal sign. So minus 5x, minus 5x. On the right-hand side, that cancels. So 9x minus 5x is going to be 4x. Then minus 7 is equal to positive 21. Now I'm going to add 7 because we want to put all the x's to one side, all the non-x's to the other side. So cancels. So we're going to get 4x is equal to 21 plus 7. Which in this case, 28. That's nice. Because to isolate x, we have to solve for x, meaning we have to divide by 4. Right? We got to do the opposite of multiplication, which is divide. Cancels. So x is equal to 28 over 4. This, in fact, reduces to 7 over 1. Right? 4 times 7 is 28. Therefore, this is 7. X is equal to 7. Okay. 24. We're almost there. All right, 24. The endpoints of AB are 6, -9, and B, 12, 18. What are the coordinates of the point C, which is 1/3 the distance from A to B? All right, so what's happening? We have the line. So A is going to be 6, -9. And B, 12, 18. All right, a couple different ways you could do this. Because we want 1/3 of the way, right? C is going to be 1/3 of the way. So if you split this into thirds, kind of eyeball it. Right, here's point C, which is 1/3 of the way. We could figure out the distance from A to B and then divide that into thirds. That's one way. Or you could figure out the distance from A to, like, each individual component, right? The X component and then the Y components, right? This is got to be done separately. So we're going to have to work this twice. The X's and then the Y's. There's really no way to work it all at once, really. Okay, so the distance in X's from 6 to 12. Well, that's 6 spots. If you, right, 6 plus 6 is 12. So from 6 to 12 is 6 slots. So if I divide 6 into 3, we get 2. Now, what did we just find? We found that each of these are 2. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the distance in x, right? We did 12 minus 6 divided by 3. Why 3? Because we wanted to go 1/3 of the distance. So the way you find distance, you take the end point minus the starting point. End point minus the starting point. Now, if we try to use the distance formula, that's going to give you a different number, but I feel that, this way is better. So the x coordinate is 2. For C, that is. The x coordinate is 2. All right, let's do the same thing for y. So y is going to be equal to the distance from negative 19 to 18. So we take 18 minus the starting point, which is negative 9. And that's going to be 18 plus 9, which is 27. Okay, we're going to have to divide that by 3 because we want 1/3 of the way. So 27 divided by 3 is going to be 9. So what this is saying is that from A to B, in terms of y, we have a distance of 9. Well, I take that back. It's a distance of 27, and then from each, right, this is 9 spots, this is 9 spots, and this is 9 spots, right? Because from A to B is 27, and when we split that into thirds, we get 9. So from A to C is 9 places. So if A is at negative 9 and we move 9 spots, we're going to end up at 0. So the point for C, which is 2/3 of the way in between these 2 points, the coordinates would be 2, 0. Two comma 0. All right, last question. 25. Put the equation y minus 4 is equal to 2x minus 6 in slope-intercept form. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay, I'm going to y minus 4, 2x minus 6. We're going to distribute the 2 first. So y minus 4 is equal to 2x minus 12. Okay, I'm going to add 4 because I want to get y by itself. So y is equal to 2x minus, so negative 4 plus, negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. There it is. Okay, hopefully this helped out. Good luck on the test. Catch you in the next video.